Oh, hey guys, TOP is the ticker. Quick pre-market pop. Nice little 80% or what is even a 60, 70% move, all pretty much all in one candle. Didn't see this on the scanner fast enough, so it was already pulling back by the time I saw it. And my rule, if I'm not in with a good average near the top, I really, in most situations, do not like chasing. Um, But this one is pretty interesting. I'll open up the bookmap on this. What's funny is you could see right away they had the quick pre-market pop, and if you saw this in real time, you actually had a couple minutes to react. I saw it right when it was down here, but you could actually see them stack the ask immediately. Not only that, they're as it's fading, they're putting more and more asks down that are not even getting touched, not even getting tested. Um, if you weren't in up here, you could have gotten in right here, but this is actually like a solid 30 seconds between here and this crack. You can see them stacking the ask, and there's a few bids, but overall, the bids are empty. There's very little bids to the downside to worry about. Quick pre-market pop. It's a potential bearish pattern, and it has good bookmap confirmation. You just would have had to hear this on the scanner, open up the bookmap, get shares, respond, make your reads and act, in real time. Not the easiest thing, especially when you're a little bit late on the scanner. So it pulls back, and I'm like, all right, I'm still interested in shorting a play like this, but I don't want to chase. And the reason you never want to chase in low floats is because if you look at the book, especially in the pre-market, you'll notice that there's all this black space. And pretty much what that means is there's no orders on the book between, if the stock is trading at 2.5 to 2.75, there's like no orders on the book. So like if you're chasing down here, especially in a strong market, if you're chasing at the bottom of ranges, you risk the rigor coming in, and within 20 30,000 shares he squeezes you 10%, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this. TOP is a low float POS. You know what I mean? It's an awful stock. History of fading. It has potential. Any low float stock has a potential for a big rig, but also has potential for a big pre-market and market open fade, right? So, um, I always, when I, especially in the pre-market and market open, I'm always paying attention to the technicals, paying attention to the price action, and keeping in my mind, hey, this has immediate big fade potential, right? So I'm like, all right, there's an order at 275. I'd love to see this push to 275. And right here, we got a few bids come in, and we start getting some initiation. I'm like, oh man, I really want it to push towards this level, and I was getting my shares ready. The locate and short, if it pushed at 275, I would see how close it pushed, if the buying slowed down, if there's any bids, how many bids are actually following this up, make those types of reads. But it only hit low 260s and immediately pulled. So I was like, all right, well, somebody in my Discord with information down below, by the way, asked me, it's like, hey, are you in that? I was like, nah, man, I was waiting for this to get a little higher. I didn't want my average to be, 257 and have this, have all this empty space. So I was like, all right, if you go to the chart, that's this move. I'm like, all right, um, let's see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's see what happens. So I see it's in a downtrend. I see the 1 minute 20 catch up, and I see the volume get low, and I'm like, all right, interesting. I'm just waiting. I'm like, I'm not, definitely not shorting down here. Um, and then we see something that in low floats you always want to pay attention to the massive divergence in volume and price action, right? Really, when a rigger is controlling a stock, it's like these moments. Obviously, the initial pop, but moments like this where, um, you see volume go from like 20K to 200K all in 1 minute, right? Pretty much means the rigger is initiating the stock, right? It's a key move, and when these types of moves happen, it's for some type of purpose, right? Sometimes it's bearish, sometimes it's bullish, depends on the stock, depends on the structure, depends on the volume, depends on a lot of things, depends on market conditions. Um, but one thing I love to do, and this is um, where bookmap reads have become just so great, is on these initiations. Is what they'll do is they'll stack bids. They'll be stacking bids here to prevent it from going down. But when they initiate it, the most important thing you need to pay attention to is are bids following this push up, right? Because, retail slapping, the rigor slapping, it's a bunch of volume. It looks bullish, right? And we saw PXMD do something very similar, right? Where PXMD gave a pre-market pop, pulled back to support, and then squeezed like, 40%, and then squeeze another 100% at market open. You know what I mean? Like, so there's potential here for a lot of strength, right? So how do you differentiate between a PXMD that squeezes straight up and a TOP that this is the final move before the down only, right? How do you know which one is which? And truth is, you never truly know which one is which, but I do like to use Bookmap on these initiations. It's really interesting. So, um, yeah, they have a few bids down here. There's one big one down here, but um, what's important is the initiation. So here's the initiation. So here's 2.4, and you get a nice little squeeze. Zoom in a little bit, and when these moments happen, these are the moments I like to zoom in on the book. I have my level 2 on my other monitor, and I have my Thinkorswim chart on my other monitor, and I have my Bookmap on this monitor. So I'm reading this monitor. I have, my hotkeys ready to execute my orders. I have my level 2 clicked. I just like to zoom in, and I like to see if bids are following us up. And the first thing I see, there's no bids. There's just no bids. This is like almost an instant short. But what really got me excited was I saw this push and I saw the pullback, and I didn't short this yet. I was still reading it. I was still watching it, and I saw this bid come in. I was like, okay, that bid's interesting. They're actually, here's a nice little book flip where this resistance becomes support now, potentially bullish. But a classic trick we've seen over and over again is you see them stack the ask. They start stacking the ask at 260. They let the ask get eaten, and above the ask is a few initial buys just because of people covering or chasing or whatever, and then immediately comes back down. There's just no appetite up here for further pushing. The buying immediately stops. And it starts to come back down. And the moment that I saw this ask get filled, and I saw on the tape and on the Bookmap, there's no continuation. I just started shorting, instant shorting. In fact, I started shorting into this bid, and above this bid, um, which is right here, this is everyone slapping it. And also, as we noted, besides this one bid, whose sole existence was probably to fill this ask. You put a rigger puts a big bid to fill the ask you put up higher. Classic trick. And there's no bids over here, right? So once I saw below this, I was like, man, if this bid gets taken out, or if they pull this bid like from 254 to 236, there's nothing. There's nothing on the book. There's nothing here. And in low floats, when you get aggressive initiations like those, if you start seeing topping action with no bid follow up, this is what leads to 10% cracks. And in this case, I was like, this is a great, like, this is already top. I was like, obviously this is top, but this is like top in terms of the rigging, in terms of the pushing. I'm like, this already has big potential to go straight down. And yeah, 257 to 180s in about 20 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes. Easy fade. Nice little pre-market play. And I did not hold for this, but I wish I did. Wish I did. And TOP, little pre-market pop, aggressive initiation, no bids, some nice action at the top there, right? And in the pull and the fade. So, interesting play. So, yeah, these these are really the types of tacticals that can lead to just instant fades. It's just a quick pump right before market open. No real liquidity, and TOP is definitely a low float POS. So yeah, that's that play. Recommend Bookmap. Also recommend my Discord. Information down below, because a lot of us were trading this and hitting this. So have a good one, guys. See you.